There is a Minecraft command that breaks the game entirely on purpose. That's right, Mojang specifically made this command to destroy worlds. But why would they do this? How would they do this? Well, it's actually an official data pack. You see, a data pack is basically a mod, but it's not. They can add new functions, recipes, advancements, or even world generation. Mojang really likes them, which is why they've made so many of them. Currently, there are only two types: experimental data packs and the vanilla data pack. Experimental data packs are normally how you get new features before they fully release. Since they haven't been fully developed yet, Mojang wants to test them out with the community through the help of a data pack. For example, look at this one that's automatically on your client: Minecart Improvements. It's the Canman 18 data pack that makes minecarts faster. That hasn't fully been added to the game yet, but it's clear that Mojang is currently developing it because it's in an official data pack. But when I listed the types of data packs, I only explained the experimental ones and left the vanilla data pack out. And that's because the vanilla one basically controls the entire game, while also controlling almost none of it. The problem is, in every Minecraft world, that vanilla data pack is automatically turned on, meaning that you can't turn it off. But when you actually go into that world, if you have commands on, you can enter a command called /datapack. The parameters that come next are optional, but the only important ones are enable and disable. Normally, you would use this command to enable a certain data pack that you want, whether it's vanilla or external. For example, I could do /datapack enable minecart improvements to make minecarts faster, but there's also /datapack disable, and one of the available options is the vanilla data pack. Using this command, you can remove the entire vanilla data pack from a world, but this doesn't do what you would expect it to do. You see, it doesn't turn off everything. You can still walk around and interact with stuff, and even build things, so it's not like it affects the entire world, but it still modifies some things. So what strange middle ground does it take? Well, it's super strange and interesting. If you do /datapack disable vanilla, just from a bit of testing, you can kill mobs and they won't drop anything. Revolutionary, I know, but some types of fog disappear. That doesn't mean that the render distance fog disappears, but I'm talking about the liquid fog, the fog that appears in water and lava. If you go into either of those liquids, you'll be able to see, well, everything. No obstruction, unlike usual, and even stranger, it won't even act like a normal liquid. You can jump in and it'll act like nothing. You can see kelp, seagrass, bubble particles, fish, and everything that's in the water without the water parts. This is already strange. Let's look into lava now. If you jump into lava, which normally wouldn't be advised, you'd be encountered by the same physics and strangeness. But since nothing is really in lava, it's not as interesting, unless you're looking for ancient debris. However, if you switch your game mode to survival, you actually get burned by the lava. You can jump around and everything, and the lava actually hurts you. And the weird part about this water is that you can't drown in it. For some reason, their properties are completely different, which is why Mojang should add a new liquid. But yeah, this is really weird. Furthermore, with some more testing, I found out that part of world generation just stops at a certain point. Like, if you spawn into a world, turn the vanilla data pack off, then go a few hundred blocks, every single structure will disappear. And I'm not just talking about villages or desert temples, I'm talking about every single structure. The game stops generating trees and all the other things. Leaf litter's missing, grass is missing, bushes are missing. Just kidding, leaf litter's still here. But look at how empty this looks, and look at the sheer amount of contrast between vanilla terrain and nothing terrain. In another world, when I was generating a forest, I joined the world, then disabled data packs, so the forest stopped generating at a certain point. And when I went to that certain point, for some reason, the leaves were actually decaying. And it's not like the leaves were just by themselves. No, they were literally touching logs, and they were still decaying for some reason. And if you try to bone meal the ground, nothing will happen. There will just be some green particles, and that's it. And even with this tree that's been bone mealed, every single leaf will decay, even those that are placed directly on the log, which eventually results in Herobrine forests. Even if you try to place grass, it just won't work. And if you do somehow manage to get grass somewhere, updating the block in any way will instantly break it. Grass absolutely cannot generate on land. It turns out underwater, it generates seagrass everywhere. And same with kelp. Honestly, plains biomes look a lot more plain after this one. Please never do that again. Okay, wait. It's straight up just dirt, stone, and grass. You don't believe me, but if I go into a cave, it is only stone and deep slate. No ores, no nothing. Liquids generate sometimes though, and amethyst for some reason, but it's pretty much just stone and deep slate. No mobs on the surface either. You can travel however far you want. There will be no mobs, except for at night for some reason. Again, very strange. I stumbled across a jungle biome in testing, and I didn't find trees as usual, but I did find melons, which Recrap is ecstatic about. But I find it really strange that trees don't generate. Tall grass doesn't generate. Not even ores generate, but things like melons and pumpkins do? Something funny happened when I stumbled upon a coral reef when testing. As you could tell, the coral reef itself couldn't generate. So how did I know one was there? Well, the coral reef didn't generate, but the sea pickles that should have been part of it did. There were just random sea pickles in the middle of a lake. This seems strange enough to be its own Ant Venom video, so I searched his channel, but surprisingly, I'm pretty sure he never covered this, even in his Breaking Minecraft series. But if he wants to collab, I'd be happy to. In one of the worlds I tried this in, I found part of an ancient city, which should sound impossible, but the thing is, I generated it before disabling the data pack, which means that only this part generated. But even after I disabled the data pack, Minecraft still felt the need to make room for the ancient city. So there's just an empty expanse in the middle of this area underground, with only parts of an ancient city occupying it. The rest is just this. Before you ask, I did try going to the world border, only to find out that it still exists. And I even tried to go through it, but it's still a solid wall, and ender pearls no longer work to bypass that, unfortunately. Furthermore, again, you can spawn things like iron golems, and you can even respawn the ender dragon, but you can't spawn the wither for some reason. And despite there being chests generated, they cannot generate anything in them, and sponges don't even sponge, they just act like normal blocks. There's also no crafting or crafting toolbooks, but let's say that I don't want all that. The overworld is boring, I decided. In that case, let's go to the nether. But hold on, it doesn't work. What, did you expect this to be a nether portal? Of course not. You cannot light a nether portal in this mode either, so I guess I'll have to set the block to another portal instead. Perfect. As expected, upon entry to the nether, if you break the portal breaks. But there's a strange thing about this dimension that's even stranger from the overworld. You see, normal generation spawns, including things like mushrooms and piglins and even ghasts. And as usual, you can't swim in lava. Contrary to the death message, you fall through it while still taking both types of damage. Nearly everything that's normally in the nether is still here, even after disabling the vanilla data pack. And I have a theory why. You see, the video I got this idea from was made by Retro Gaming Now, and he only showed this in 1.13, the update Aquatic. But when he went into the nether, instead of there being lava, there was only water, but the water acted exactly as lava. For the newest version, for me 1.21.8, if you do this, the lava is still lava, but with really weird physics. And all of this only seems to be like this in the nether. The 1.13 update Aquatic was before the nether update in 1.16, but I'm doing this in 1.21.8. Since 1.16 was in the modern era of Minecraft, perhaps Mojang made it so that data packs don't control much of anything anymore in the nether, which may be why virtually nothing has changed there. Doing /locate lagged my game out, so I couldn't do that. I searched far and wide in spec and never found a fortress or bastion, which means that this dimension doesn't spawn structures either. In the nether, normally there's frequent pockets of lava like this everywhere, and I was surprised to see it, even when the vanilla data pack was removed. If you're wondering, the nether roof is the exact same as usual, literally the exact same, with mushrooms and everything. But this dimension is less interesting than the overworld, and there's only one dimension left. So in order to get there, I had to throw an Eye of Ender. Except for those don't work here since Minecraft has no strongholds to point me towards, but I still can get to the end with cheats. The end. Normally in the end, there's this main end island with the dragon, inhabited by hundreds of endermen. And upon entering the end, surprisingly, it's the exact same. After killing the dragon, I entered the end gateway portal, just to find out that it's also the exact same. And again, I searched far and wide and never found a single end city or end ship. Even if you mine the chorus fruit here, it drops nothing, just a bunch of particles. Nothing's different from the credits either, just the usual. Overall, this whole experience was really extraordinary. Strange, weird, bizarre, all of those adjectives. Try this for yourself. I'm not sure about Bedrock, but if you get on Minecraft Java Edition right now, you can type /datapack disable vanilla and have the same experience I did. But that's all I got right now. If I find more about this, I'll just make another video about it. Anyway, thanks for watching this UIT Minecraft video. Jesus is Lord, and until next time, undefeatable army.